Blog Talk Radio.
Life seems to crush your dreams, so find your balance for all you need. A little work, some family fun. Find your love, keep your life on the run. Told you how the story goes, so write your own script before you grow old. Live your life, laugh out loud. Own who you are, stand up proud. You gotta find what works for you. Find a balance that lets you be you.
Good evening and welcome to the Star Chamber Show live podcast. And it's a great night here in Lexington, Kentucky, where I, Stephen Zimmer, am broadcasting live along with the lovely, vivacious, the wonderful, and hardworking Holly Phillippe. Holly, you should be on. Mike should be live.
I hope
She's
I'm
there.
right here.
Yeah, there she is. She's fired up. Yeah, she's been working on Imaginarium panels all day long, getting the final stuff set. And later tonight, late tonight, I think, there should be some panel surveys going out. So that's always an exciting time. A lot of authors wait, and filmmakers and editors, publishers, artists, and musicians eagerly await that. So, yeah, that should be going out later tonight.
Every year.
So, yep, every year. It's a yearly tradition. So, but hey, I mean, you know, our podcast is, of course, affiliated with the Imaginarium Convention, so we want to keep you up to date. And, of course, you know, it is a part of 7 Star Press, so we also keep you up to date on some news there. So, which we do have news from both before tonight's guest, who, by the way, is fantastic. He does happen to be a Imaginarium spotlighted guest this year, but just absolutely a consummate professional, super talented writer, and can't wait to bring this guest in tonight. So that'll be coming up here in just a few minutes. But first, we did want to give a shout out to Lawrence Wheel. And he had a cover reveal today for a brand new contemporary fiction novel titled Pan and the Message Chair. And yours truly served as editor for him on this project. It's extremely well written. I was really, really impressed with Lawrence's writing, and it was a pleasure to work with him. And Olivia Pro Design did the cover, and I'm telling you, the colors, the fonts, everything just looks sharp, and Holly can vouch for me. It's the only problem with an audio podcast is we can't show it to you right here, but it's online in all the 7 Star Press channels and in our Facebook group 7 Star Sound Off and some other areas. So it's on Twitter and all around, LinkedIn, Instagram. So get on there, check it out. It's book 1 of the Weiler's Ford series. Again, it's contemporary fiction, really powerful story. It's about it's a thoughtful kind of exploration into the meaning of life, love, and love lost. And it's a story that's going to get you in the feels. So it's definitely not the light beach read. It's a really very heavy emotional type of story, and it involves a couple of one enigmatic character, another one that is going through a really difficult time after losing his wife, and there's this tree trunk that's like a chair, that's in shape of almost like a chair, that becomes a medium by which these two characters trade messages with each other. I'll leave it at that because that is in the synopsis. But check it out. I mean, just a great book. I think a lot of people will benefit from reading this book. I think it's got a lot of depth and a lot of things to say. Just a very good, heartfelt book, and it's coming out May 31st in print and ebook. It's absolutely fantastic book, and yeah, Holly, I think you would love this book. She's not gotten a chance to read it just yet, but this is one that Holly will have to put on her summer list for sure. It's right up her alley, definitely.
I did read enough to. I read his query letter and his submission years ago, and I'm like, Steve, this is one I think we're going to watch. And yes, indeed, it's a phenomenal book from what Stephen has told me. And
yes,
we're glad to have him aboard.
Absolutely. Lawrence is a fantastic individual. He'll be at Imaginarium, too. He is a panelist. And then we, of course, have been talking about the Imaginarium Marathonarium, and that cover art was finalized, and we just got the final version in late today, and it is beautiful. I'm so happy with how the cover turned out. Again, another one from Olivia Pro Design. She does all my Ragnar and Raiden Tales covers, and just amazing talent. But yeah, this anthology cover is beautiful, and we're going to try to get a cover reveal done Friday, if not as soon as the beginning of next week. But it is absolutely beautiful, and Holly can vouch for that as well. She's seen it.
Yes, it is.
Yeah,
gorgeous. Absolutely
good-looking book.
People are going to be blown away.
So yeah, we're having a good run of covers. Yeah, we just got a new one in for Janie Franz, and yeah, just getting ready to have more covers coming in probably in the next week or two. So yeah, we're getting ready to have a whole bunch of stuff coming out. So it's an exciting time as we're getting ready to rock and roll for the summer, and of course that coincides with Imaginarium, always a good thing. So we, as usual, have a bunch of updates from the last week. We have two different individuals we want to recognize. One is our latest Imaginarium 2023 individual patron, and that is Dragonfly Press. And that is a small press that is headed up by the one and only Ren Melian, and they are just a great press and put out a variety of genres and titles, and they are a Imaginarium individual patron. We also had a new sponsor, one joined our official sponsor family, and that was Richard B. Warner, and just an amazing guy, and really supports the convention. And he's a realtor, he's a realty agent, and he's with Call It Closed International Realty. That's the parent of his affiliation, and you can find him at howtoaffordhomes.com. Howtoaffordhomes.com. Richard B. Warner, and he's part of our full sponsor family. So yeah, welcome aboard. We love this guy.
He's also part of our Imaginary staff. Yeah,
he is.
You will see him at Imaginarium. If you have questions,
yes, you will.
He's the tall, dude that has the dark hair that will be hanging around registration and running around with the blue shirt.
Yep. But it's quite a compliment that someone from, who was our volunteer coordinator on staff at Imaginarium, came forward this year to be a full-blown sponsor. So that was a really, made me feel really good. That was definitely a nice validation. Those things definitely help when we're in the middle of the maelstrom, because it is a maelstrom. That's all I can tell you too. But we have more for you folks, and we've got no less than 11 new panels and 3 new workshops. So I've got a lot of programming to give to you here. Yes, we posted these up. The descriptions are online. New workshops added for the convention are Love and Blood from presenter Jimmy Gillentine. The Power of You presenter William Joseph Roberts. You'll be hearing that name shortly. World Building presenter William Joseph Roberts. Those are 3 new workshops. And now for the panel topics. And again, please do read the descriptions. Most of the titles will give you a pretty good idea what they are, but sometimes it's a little ambiguous because it's kind of a fun, catchy title. Go read what it's about, because these are killer panels. But cover art that sells, how to write historical fiction effectively, a pitch panel, and moderated by William Joseph Roberts, and that is on the fine art of pitching your project to publishers. Why Write Nonfiction is another new one. And then we also added this week are adapting a book to film. And I saw that Carol Preflatish is in the chat room right now, and she could certainly talk about it. She just finished adapting her great novel, Homecoming to Murder, first of the Nathan Perry mysteries, to a screenplay. So she'd probably be well qualified for this. Hope she dives in on that one, because she just did it. Employment options for writers, how to distribute your film, how to write a game module, how to write a fascinating short story, Publicity and Marketing for Today's Book Market. That's one that'll probably need a stadium because it'll probably be one of the most popular ones, I'm sure. Writing Faith-Based Fiction, and then Writing YA. So that's the rest of the panels that have been added. So as you can see, we posted 11 new panels, 3 new workshops just in the past few days. And, yeah, that's going to be rounded out. There's going to be more posted up over the next couple of days and going public with full descriptions. And we also now are starting to put in all the room times and dates that these panels are, rooms and dates and times that these panels are taking place. So if you are looking at getting a single-day event ticket, you can check that out. Just make sure you get some of the main programming you want to see. And then last but not least, today we announced Stephanie Fager as a spotlighted guest, and she is a phenomenal author, publicist, and book marketing expert. And she had a 15-year career in communications and marketing, and she now has a whole team of marketing experts that work with her at Empower PR Group, and that's the company that she founded, and she helps authors grow their businesses around their books, empowering messages. And so, yes, she is great for developing your brands, your platform, all that kind of stuff. And she's also the author of a number of books, and her newest one, Make Your Author Impact, Sell More Books, Increase Your Reach, and Achieve Your Why. And it's very much a book that is extremely relevant to the authors that are going to be attending this summer. But she is going to be a great addition. I think Holly's going to be working with her on 1 or 2 workshops, and those will be posted pretty soon. And, just going to be a great addition to the convention. And for those interested in doing better in the area of marketing and publicity in today's market. So, she'll have a lot of current info. But that's it. There's a lot of updates, Holly. A lot. Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, it's an avalanche. And looking into the chat room here tonight, we got Metalbeck Harrison, we got Amy McCorkle. Say hi to them. Clayton Barnett. Look, Michael Nost. Michael Nost is in the chat room. Hey, Michael.
He's in the house.
Yes, he's amazing. Yeah, spotlighted guest. Don't want to miss him this summer either at Imaginarium. And tonight's guest, who I will save the introduction for, and of course the wonderful Sandy Lender, genre blender, and Sandy. Yes, she's the editor of that Marathonarium anthology that's in conjunction with Imaginarium, and I just sent her the final cover artwork tonight, so she could have a copy of that on her end. So, yes, she can probably vouch for how cool it turned out. So, but now we're going to go ahead and recognize Sandy some more, as a matter of fact, because, of course, we always want to spotlight those who brought you tonight's show. And tonight it's the tandem of Sandy Lender and Ren Garcia. So first, I'll give you a little bit from Sandy.
Author Sandy Lender invites you to visit her website at AuthorSandyLender.com to pick out a new favorite story to read this spring. You're sure to find a strong young lady, a clever vampire, a self-assured fairy, or a fabulous dragon to join on a new journey. Start your next adventure at AuthorSandyLender.com and make some new quest friends. Welcome to Sandy's various fantasy worlds, where some days you just want the dragon to win.
Thank you, Sandy. You're the best. And as I always say, I can vouch for the quality of your writing. Definitely money well spent when you buy one of her books. And now we're going to go to another. I can also vouch for the amazing Ren Garcia, who we're still trying to get, nudging him to get to Imaginarium. So if you do chat with him online, encourage him to come out of his hibernation from events and come to Imaginarium this summer. So here's Ren.
The League of Elder dares to be unusual. It's easy to be swept away in this bold and uninhibited landscape where fantastic heroes become old friends and sinister villains inhabit every dark corner. Dare to explore things best left alone. Each book is your lantern, lighting the path to a world never before seen. So what do you say? Are you weird enough for us?
Indeed,
Yes.
we are, Ren Garcia.
Indeed we are. Yes, we are definitely weird enough for you, and definitely looking forward to seeing you at Imaginarium. Hint, hint. But now we're going to be getting our call in from our guest here in just a moment, so be on the lookout for that. Right now, it looks like the chat room is popping tonight. If you have any trouble logging in, just refresh the page, and sometimes it gets a little finicky, but that's all right. Better just to be it. We'd rather have you in there just a hair late than never. So come in, we take comments and questions from there, and it looks like we do have our guest on deck. So I'm going to go right into the introduction because this is going to be a great convo tonight. Tonight's guest is an Imaginarium spotlighted guest this summer, and also an award-winning author, editor, and publisher. He's an eclectic writer of science fiction, fantasy, and post-apocalyptic fiction, and he is the lead publisher with the award-winning Three Ravens Publishing. So now you know him, the man, the myth, the legend. He rocks, William Joseph Roberts. William, you are in the Star Chamber now, and your mic should be live, we hope.
See, now I want to go run away. What in the world? Wow, you talking me up something pretty. You use that mouth prettier than a $2 whore there, buddy.
Well, I got to keep my egg. Well, Nost is in the room tonight, so I got to up my game, and keep it at top level here, So, but we want to give the red carpet treatment to you. You're welcome. You're welcome, and great to have you back. It's been a little while since you've been on the show. Last time I saw it when I was going through the data for this week, so it's been a little bit. So I know, of course, you always have like 1,000 projects in the fire through yourself and Three Ravens and events and everything else. So I know you're going to have a lot to talk about, including some stuff that you've worked up with Holly as far as this convention goes too. So we got a lot to cover. So I'm just going to throw it at you and give us a little up to date on what you've been into lately.
Well, here lately, the biggest project I've had going on has been the Car Wars project. And for anybody that doesn't know what Car Wars is, Steve Jackson Games created Car Wars back in 1980 as one of their first big hits. And this is like way before Munchkin or Illuminati or any of the others that they've got out. If you've ever played things like Warhammer, Battletech, things like that where you have a miniature strategy combat game, the majority of it was set up like that, where you had car combat going on. But you also had the RPG side of things when the original edition came out. Steve, we're at DragonCon last year shooting the shit, talking about things, and before you knew it, we were kind of talking about doing fiction in Car Wars, which is, it's a light cyberpunk, light post-apocalyptic, where everything's about bread and circus when it comes down to it. The corporations want to keep everybody happy, watching the shows, all that kind of stuff, and it's all about the combat and the death sports. So we ended up coming up with an agreement, and I've got a licensing contract with Steve Jackson Games now for Three Ravens, where we're writing fiction in the Car Wars universe. The main overarching series is called Car Warriors, the Auto Duel Chronicles. The main series that we're working on right now is the Dead Man's Run. So basically we're going back to what one of the main inspirations for Car Wars, which was the original Death Race 2000, with David Carradine. So you take Cannonball Run, arm the cars, and let them fight it out.
Nice.
So the main storyline, we're doing a series of trilogies. So like I'm going to be doing a trilogy: Christopher Woods, Benjamin Tyler Smith, David Hensley, Marisa Wolf. We've got 4 or 5 main core authors that are going to be on this main arc, and they're coming from different cities. I'm starting my crew in Atlanta, and the whole end game by the 3rd book is to end up in Sturgis for the big competition. And they have to get through the wasteland and raiders and roadblocks and everything else in between to get there. and they're going to end up with, different arena challenges and stuff in round. So we're going to get to see a lot of the Car Wars universe fleshed out more than it ever had before. Now, see, this had been attempted once before. Back in the 90s, Tor had gotten David Drake to write the very first Car Warriors novel, which was a square deal. I've actually I found a copy of it. I can't find the other two. Steve Jackson actually had copies of the other two, sent them in, let me take a look at them and stuff like that. All of that has been wiped from canon. We're running new canon. But it's crazy and exciting because we're following in the footsteps of TSR, of Tor, and of Marvel Comics, who have all done something in this franchise. So,
That's awesome.
It's like we got some big shoes to fill with this.
Yeah, congrats. That is amazing.
But my story, Burning Roads, it's in the final bit of editing. The cover art hopefully will be in this week, if all goes well. Steve Jackson has already read through it. He has greenlit it, loved it. It's just a matter of getting the final process going. I am working on a Kickstarter for the entire project right now. There's going to be different bits of swag. There's going to be Tuckerizations available. Lots of fan-based stuff, especially for the old-school gamers that played the game way back in the day, including, the new guys playing the 6th edition, which is the latest one. And, part of the overall running this project, I have to tell some of the authors just as a reminder every now and then. It's like, okay, think about it like this. We're writing the Saturday morning cartoon to sell the toy. And, that kind of clicks of what kind of content we can get into and how in-depth and, bloody we can get on some of the descriptions and stuff. Because in reality, we're writing stories in this universe, but at the same time, we're pitching the 6th edition. And it's straight-up combat. There's no RPG element to that part. It's just tabletop combat. And it's a good system. You want to waste a couple hours and trying to figure strategy out. If you've ever played BattleTech, Warhammer, any of those kind of games, you'll love Car Wars if you haven't played it before.
I have not played Car Wars yet, but that sounds awesome. We just finally got into some D&D again, not about a year or two ago, but so we're getting back into some gaming. So, but that would be awesome. Yeah, that sounds really interesting.
Well, we're definitely got to play it. We're going to familiarize ourselves with it.
Yeah, this is going to be a fun series to play in because it's really an open canvas to work with. And as long as we adhere to the little bit of rules there are, we can just go. You got to keep it in America. Okay, cool. Things are limited on certain things like most people eat algae. Real food really doesn't exist unless you're stupid rich. Everybody subsists on algae and algae-based products kind of thing. So little things like that are hard to write in at certain points because we're so used to just regular little things. But that's what kind of fleshes out the universe so much.
So how is the release schedule going to roll with something like this? How is it going to unfold once it's
right now
with Kickstarter?
Right now, it's looking like it honestly depends on when I get my cover art because the first cover artist kind of ghosted me a few times, and I can't wait anymore. It's like I've been under the weather, and I'll get you a sketch this weekend. I'm like, no, that don't work. So I found another cover artist that was comparable, half the price, and could get it to me, which should be by the end of this week, and that'll be awesome. He loved the concept.
Well,
but
are you going to
right
be
now,
ready to maybe promo this? Possibly you could do like a promo or some kind of demo at Imaginarium?
Demo for what, the game? Or we can talk to the universe because we'll have at least two of us there that's writing in it.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
because Chris Woods will be up there with me.
Yep.
That's right. Right. And the game host would love that.
Definitely talk about
we have a few people that do that.
But release schedule, it kind of all depends on when I get the cover art, and it's going to be after Liberty. It might be after Imaginarium, just barely. But there's also a anthology and work that we're shooting for a Dragon Con release. Details to come on that. I've already got the second novel in my inbox. We haven't started editing on it, and that was Dave Hensley's. Chris Wood should be next in line, with Ben Smith coming up for the next one. And the goal right now is to release one of the core arc stories once a quarter. And if we get, we've got a bunch of other authors that they're not in the core story arc for Dead Man's Run. They're doing these side tangent things. And, it's still fleshing out the universe. It's good storytelling. So up to 8 Car War stories a year will be released. We're not going to flood it where, the readership can't keep up, and it's just that, oh, my dear God, I don't know where to even start. There's so many books. We're not doing that. Each of the trilogies are going to be independent. You won't have to read the others to understand what's in those. So, you could read just a trilogy and enjoy the series, or you could read all the trilogies of Dead Man's Run, or you can read everything that we put out, or you just follow this one author in that universe, So there's it's not like you're going to have to read 50, 60, 70 novels to keep up with what the hell's going on. People have asked me before, it's like, well, don't you want to release it like, rapid release? And I'm like, no, I don't, because I don't want to burn our readers out. I don't want to flood them with stuff that they get sick of seeing. And at the same time, I'm a writer, and so are Ben and Rachel. Okay, so Three Ravens Publishing. There's 3 of us. There's 3 partners. And you guys got to meet all 3 of us last year, because Benjamin Tyler Smith and R.J. Layden were there. And the original goal of Three Ravens was to be a platform for us to publish our labors of love that we didn't want to give away to somebody else. Well, in the process, we brought others on board and opened the doors, and, we're helping others, and we're building a platform that's author-centric, that we're helping each other as a community, and trying to boost the signal, and, even the percentages that I cut out to the authors are author-centric. We're not making that much for Three Ravens coffers. It's enough to get that next cover or do this next thing, but really, I plan on making my fortune on my writing. Three Ravens is a platform for us to utilize. If I'm not publishing somebody else, it's okay. It doesn't hurt my feelings any, because I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to publish something else of my own and get it written. And that puts more money in my pocket so that I can keep doing what I do. Because, end of the day, my goal is to write for a living and publish.
Yeah, make a living doing what you love.
Yeah, exactly. Because, I can sit here and work 12 hours a day for the man and make a damn good living at it, but I hate it. I would much rather be diving in, visiting my characters, going on these adventures with them, and getting out of that universe for a little bit, helping another author do their edits, give them their feedback so they can grow, they can learn, and they can get better at the craft, and then get them out there to the world. I've been told more than a few times it's not a sustainable business model, but we're doing it. We showed growth this past year. We showed a good chunk of growth, which is awesome. So we went from nothing to we're doing something.
Right on. That's all you can ask.
Yeah, well, I think the work speaks for itself. I mean, I can definitely vouch for, the impact you had even with our convention. Obviously you went up more than a few times to get trophies in the awards ceremony, and the quality speaks for itself. of what you got rolling here, and then you've got a great a group put together. And yeah, because everybody there was just fantastic to meet in person, and yeah, the writing is exceptional. And so yeah, I think you're making a statement there for sure.
Yeah, and
with what you've got.
And you know what? One of the things, like, this last year has, since Imaginarium, it has been crazy. I mean, y'all know we had the death in the family. I took care of hospice. You know, we had to take care of the widow and get her moved and all the extra stuff. But when we finally got back to doing our thing and you know, I got back into doing some writing and some publishing and all that, which was like, it was by like November, December, and I was starting to crank some stuff back out because we were just so busy with the family stuff and life. We have had so much crazy growth since Imaginarium. It blows my mind. I mean, we had an article done on us over on Authors Published, and I didn't know nothing about it. They did an article about us. And over a weekend, we got over 200 fresh novel submissions from around the world.
Wow.
We've been lumped in with traditional publishers. It's like, okay, cool. I'm scared. Help, I need an adult. You know, so it's like we're doing something right. And people are noticing. And, you know, since that article went live, I've had well over 350 submissions sent in. My slush pile is sitting at 173, I think it was, when I looked a little bit ago. Yeah, and it is a wide range. I had to go through and update the submission guidelines just because. We are not looking at single author collections because they just, unfortunately, they don't sell. Even if they are so damn good that I enjoy reading every bit of it, they don't sell. You have to have a name to make something like that sell. Poetry collections, same kind of thing. Just not looking for them because they don't sell. It would have to be something of exception and special for me to look at it, you know. But the one thing that really surprised me on the publishing side of things, that it honestly irks the ever-living crap out of me. I do not care about anything but the fiction. I care about the story you tell me. I want you to take me on an adventure that I enjoy, that I have fun. I don't want to leave. I want to stay there and keep going. I don't care about checking boxes.
Makes you forget about, it makes you forget about the world, you know. For a while.
Right, yeah. It's all about the fiction. But I'm getting these emails in, and they're listing off, I am this. It's like, I don't care, and I want to delete your email now. Because that's not the point. That is not the point. That is not what I'm looking for. I'm not checking boxes. It's great. Be you. I mean, be the absolute freak that you are. It's okay. We love you for that. But I don't care when it comes down to the fiction. And I'm honestly tempted to update my submission guidelines for that. Because it's just, I don't care. It's not going to drive me one way or another. I don't care about your long list of publications, because I've probably still never heard of your name before. There are so many of us out there. There are thousands of us trying to get somewhere, and I've never heard of half of them that are making a living doing this.
Right.
So, you know, but that's a personal peeve of mine.
I agree. If they start rattling off, you know, somebody starts babbling off a bunch of that, I'm like, you know, if that's what you're looking for, no. I'm looking
how good
for
the story is. Yeah.
The quality of writing. Looking for the quality of writing. I'm looking for your, you know, give me your synopsis. Tell me a little bit about your story, where you see it going 5 years down the road. You know, is this a
Right.
series? Is this not a series? Tell me about your characters. You know, the plot points. You know, tell me about these things. I don't care if you have 10,000 medals or you do this or you do that. I don't care. You know, as long as I care that you're not an asshole, because like I don't want to deal with assholes. So you've got to be a good person. But other than that, I don't care. You know what your personality is or what you do in your own time or whatever you think. I care about the book, the writing, getting it out there.
Yeah.
That's what it boils down.
One of those submissions, it was actually it's going to be a reprint. He's already self-published it, and one thing that I'm finding is like people get out there, they're trying to do their thing, and they just don't have the connections, don't have the energy to push. I mean, everybody that knows me knows that I hustle and I move and I get it done because I know where I want to be. But not everybody's got my kind of energy to get things done. And I'm seeing that a lot of people, they're like, oh, you'll look at reprints. Oh, please take a look at my book, because they tried the self-pub thing and they're just tired. They don't understand how to do the marketing. They don't understand this or that. They're introverted. They don't want to deal with the networking. And I get it. But, the pitch, the synopsis. We had one, Wingless, by David James out of Australia. His pitch was so well, because I read every email that came in before I saved the file off. I copied the email, put it into the file itself so that it was there for whoever on the Slush Pile team read it. They'd have an idea and all this and that. But his is just like, I immediately marked it as I get to read this one because it already had me hooked. And I was going through the, dear God, there's so many and they're still coming in emails, as I'm sorting everything. But this one was it was a beautiful pitch. And it's like I started reading. I was 9 chapters in. I'm like, I don't even want to edit this. Holy crap. I turned around and started popping questions to him on email, and next thing you know, I'm sending him a contract because it was that well done. Nice. And it's just a beautiful series. He's got the first 2 are done. 3rd book is in work. Already got the cover art set up for the first one. The cover art that he had, it was like, and he went through a service. It wasn't a vanity press. It was actual publishing service that they've got down there, where they will go through and they will edit for you. They will go ahead and publish it for you, and you do pay a fee, but all the royalties and everything come to you. They set you up with your account and all that kind of stuff. They do the editing, they do the cover art, and they do all that stuff to set it up, and then here you go. So I guess in a way it is a vanity, but really it's just a service.
Right.
And just as soon as they get done with it and it's published, the rights revert. It's all the author. Do your thing. You paid us for our services. Have fun.
Have a good day.
But I'll take that. We'll get rid of that cover and we'll do something better, because it was okay. Thumbnail size. What's that? It's all kind of red and brown. Yeah. So we got something now that's going to stand out.
Right.
Nice.
That's something people don't think about all the time. It's that thumbnail size.
Nowadays,
it's got to look
absolutely.
good as a thumbnail too. Yeah.
Yeah. And for like covers, I might be taking a tangent here, but one thing that I really never understood so much. I mean, I kind of do. It's like all these different countries. They have different cover art. And, you got different feels and different appeals in different countries. But at the same time, it's like, this is the story. It needs to be recognizable by its trademark. That one image is that book. And, take the original Chronicles or Dragonlance Chronicles, the first 3 books. Those 3 covers will be those 3 covers forever in my head.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, because that's or some that have really iconic kind of elements in the cover that really attach to the books, like the Hunger Games. When they publish those covers, they fit in beautifully with what they did and others.
Yeah, and they were so simple.
Yeah, some of them are just timeless.
Yeah,
completely timeless.
Yeah, because I see the 58 different editions of books.
The old Doom covers were pretty good.
Yeah.
Myself, I mean, I know they've redone because of the new movies and stuff, but I mean, if you go back and look at the old Doom covers, they're pretty neat. Yeah, they could maybe use a brush and that with some graphic, put them in graphic art and stuff. But yeah, I mean, they, some things are just timeless.
Yeah, you always tend to get those tie-in covers when something becomes a series or a movie. They'll always reissue the books with the cover that ties to the show. And that's obviously that's effective to an extent, but yeah, it does get muddled when you have 50 different covers of the same title out there, and certainly seen a few books like that. But yeah, there's some great work. I mean, some great talents out there cover-wise, and yeah, you can get something that's effective, and that works, and especially at half price like you did, go for it. That's even better.
That was just whoa. And you can find good cover art out there. There's a lot of artists, and a lot use stock art. And now with the AI stuff going on, a lot are using AI to generate elements that they're putting together for a main piece that include taking stock art and using it as a filter. One of my main artists, she'll take stock art off of Adobe stock, will run it as like a filter setup over on Midjourney to give it a particular feel, and start putting all the pieces together, and then run the whole thing as one, so it all becomes seamless. She's still putting hours of work into it by layering and putting all these elements together. It's not like it's just one piece and boom, you're done. And it's just another tool in the toolbox, I think. A lot of people's worried about it's going to replace jobs and all that, but what was it? GarageBand? It didn't replace bands, did it?
Nope.
It was just another tool in the toolbox for people to use.
But there's people out there that have used it, that it is, and that's why artists are so upset because, and it does take, the AI takes, when you're creating this from AI, like just giving it like options, say like ship, ghost, something like that, and then it creates this image. It takes from all these different artists and their pieces that's not given permission, but that it knows and that it's seen and generates the art. And that's how that I've been explained from, artists, actual graphic artists. And they say, that's an invasion of their artwork, and other artists, that cannot give a permission, anymore or whatever. But it is taking something and making it new, but they are concerned that it's going to take over. And it's just like narration, too. I mean, there's Google Books now that, there's a way to do audio books that it has different voices, different tones, you're choosing an AI narrator. So it's actually taken away from narrators. And, it's a whole lot cheaper to do it that way. So a lot of authors are going this route. Will you get the same quality? Probably not. No, you're not going to, because you don't have the human aspect. You don't have the human, attributes to put to the story and the timing and all that. I mean, the computer's not going to get it all. So it's not going to be, as good as a human. And editing will never be as good as a human. It don't matter how much Grammarly or how much Word or whatever you use. you have to use it to help you, with your writing and all that. But you can't depend on that. A lot of these writers that self-publish, they'll depend on Word or Grammarly to edit their manuscripts, and you can't. You just can't. They do not catch everything.
God, no.
And nope. I'm like, no,
you're just asking
on
for
AI.
a nightmare if that's what you're doing.
That's exactly right. And you can't depend on AI, but you
read
can
it
use
yourself. And
yeah.
well, that's just like the AI generated novels that are coming out now. Oh yeah, you hadn't heard about that yet?
Yeah.
And there's one guy claiming he's making thousands of dollars on these things. It's like, and it is mediocre at best writing. It's going to flood the market with a mediocre level of stuff that people are going to start to just ignore, which, it sucks for that author that's been doing something that is in that range of skill level, because they're just going to get wiped out in the flood, where anybody above is just going to go ahead and excel. So, there will be some minuses there, but right now with the way that stuff's set up, it really isn't going to replace, Stephen King or Anne Rice or any of them.
No. It's never going to have the human aspect, put it that way.
I'm
like
back.
I said, it's a great tool. Huh?
I got kicked off as I was talking about AI. Isn't that weird?
Big brother
I got disconnected.
And you're on running the dashboard. I guess it automatically went over to me. I don't know. It didn't pop up. So
I still had the dashboard. I still had the dashboard up, so we were still alive. But it kicked my phone line off. But I was just going to say, just real briefly. My point was I was talking about some of the deep fakes I've seen, and then also I was going to mention those. And then the other thing was I saw a mock movie trailer for a imagined movie about the video game Street Fighter, and they did it with a 1990s movie aesthetic, specifically as if this movie came from the 1990s. And I'm telling you, I would want to see this movie. I mean, it was completely AI generated, but the trailer was very compelling. So yeah, I mean, I'm just saying that there are some it could be a tool, but also there's some concerns as to the impact it may have.
Yeah.
But that's
it's okay to use it as a tool, but you've always got those, nefarious people. They're going to take things.
Well, it doesn't matter what you do; they're always going to be there.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, they're always there, lurking.
Yes.
Sandy had a question and a chat back up in here. I'm trying to find it. Oh, she said, "This is to William. Do you wish to see the size of the audience potential sales that the author brings along? Is that info important for the person to include in their query? So is it important for them to tell you about the size of their audience, like social media presence and all that, followers, and potential sales?"
Not really. I mean, in the end, be blowing smoke up my ass.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still going to go and I'm going to look at their websites. I'm going to weigh and measure them. I'm going to look at the content that I can see, just to make sure they're not absolutely batshit crazy and I'm getting myself into a world of hurt.
Right.
Because that is something you got to take into account. Is this person going to go off the deep end and cause problems that I've got to deal with now?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
This day and age, you got to kind of watch out. So I tend to look.
That's true.
I just skip that whole long list of, okay, cool, yeah, whatever, and I'll go and I'll actually look at their websites, their Twitter, their Facebook, Tumblr, whatever they've got, and take a look and see what's going on, see how many people they got, see how much activity they got. Because I can write something nice and pretty and fluff the shit out of it. Doesn't mean it's true.
Right. That's right. I agree.
I can see where it could be helpful though when you have somebody that's out there trolling a lot and getting into fights with everybody online, and how is that going to, obviously reflect on you as the press if you have that person as your author. I can definitely see where a little bit of survey and that kind of thing can come in handy, because you definitely
it's like, do I really want to deal with this? Do I really have the time to deal with this?
Yep.
I've already had to deal with some of that before, so that's one of those things that I need to pay attention to this from here on.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
What's that? I don't want to deal with assholes.
You do what?
I said I don't want to deal with assholes. That's just a prerequisite. I don't.
That's definitely a prerequisite.
If they're an a-hole, I don't want to deal with them.
Well, okay, so like software and stuff. Read submission guidelines. They're there for a reason. Follow them.
Yes.
And honestly, out of all the submission guidelines, I really have one rule out of that whole stack that really means anything to me. And if you can follow that, you're already winning. But I'm not going to tell you what it is. There's a lot of little hard and fast things to pay attention to. But there's one out there that's really important. If you can't follow that one stupid little rule, well, do I really want to deal with you? Are you going to be a prima donna?
Exactly.
I actually had for Trailer Park last year, for the Trailer Park Anthology, I had an author send me an email. Like, I'm going to write this for your Trailer Park Volume 2 Anthology, and it's going to be beautiful, but I'm going to be about 3 days late. My response, deadline is this. Good luck. I don't give a shit who you are. If you can't follow my guidelines, then go away. I ain't got time to deal with you. I got other stuff to do. I mean, even if it was Stephen King, I'd be like, dude, sorry, man, go away. I'm not dealing with prima donnas, not dealing with bullshit. And see, I didn't make rank quickly for a reason in the military, because I just don't deal with bullshit well. I got in trouble a lot for my mouth. That's okay.
Oh, now I want to hear some of these stories at some point. We won't put you on the spot tonight, but yeah.
I got some good ones for you. That involved a 3-striper and officers. That turned out to be in my favor.
Nice. Oh, yeah, put a note. Yeah, Holly, put a note on that for when we see him in person and get to hang out. I want to hear some of this.
Yeah,
but
definitely.
But you're right. Yeah, the guidelines are if you have somebody that can't work with you on something that some of those basic things, then they're going to be a problem later. It's a good. Well, and that's what I always tell people.
Some of these submissions, it blows my mind on the quality. I mean, it is a wide range, and I'm sure you guys have seen the same things if you've gotten in.
Lord,
you get great prose and great dialogue, and it's just like you read and read and read, and you don't want to edit because you're sucked into it. But then you get these others one paragraph, and you're scratching your eyes out.
Yeah, I'm
and,
like, what?
Just,
or grammar so bad, and
spell checker alone would help this. But they didn't do that.
Right. Right.
And I don't. And see, that's one of those. I don't know. I've seen so many newbies from different starting points, and I really tried to help the baby authors because it took me so long to find out anything about craft or business. And once I did find out, I was rabid about learning and rabid about sharing. And some of these baby authors that are sending things in, I don't know if it's lack of experience or it's ego. Because you know how you wrote that first thing, and it's great, and you can't kill your darlings because it's great, it's done, you don't have to touch it again, and we've all been there. I've been there. And if you say that you haven't, you're lying through your freaking teeth. Because we've all been there. The amount of editing on some of these that need to be done, I don't remember some of my first things that I sent in. They were probably just as bad. But look for ways to improve in the craft. Look at things like Writers of the Future. Try to get in there. If you're getting honorable mentions, silver honorable mentions, do them. The Writers of the Future has a free writing course that you can do that can help you to build your craft. Michael Nost, he does writing classes online. Jonathan Mayberry. There's a whole bunch of authors that do these online courses that might cost you like $20 for 4 hours of your time, and it's well worth it. Now, on the flip side, on the business side of things, that $25 and that 4 hours, you write down that you were attending this course for 4 hours. You make sure to save your receipt for that $20 because that's now a tax write-off towards your authorship. As long as you're showing progress, they won't stop you. I had $4,000 or more in write-offs last year between hotels and travel and all this and that.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
It all adds
a lot of
up.
things you can write off. Yeah.
Easy. Yeah.
But if you're still in that baby stage of, the ego is ruling everything, well, you just got to get past that or you'll never get past that. And that's a hurdle that a lot of people just never do. They want to be that one. I wrote a story, and they'll talk about that just like Al Bundy talks about winning the championship football game for the rest of his life, But that's finding your place. That's finding where you're happy with. And that's what a lot of people, I think, don't understand, Where do you want to be with this? Is this a hobby? Because there's the hobbyists and there's the professionals. The hobbyists are the ones that are happy writing something every now and then. They're not on a schedule. They don't try to write every day. They do it when they feel like it. They do it when the muse is right. They do it when they have the time. Or they do NaNoWriMo or something. And that's the true definition of the hobbyist writer. Then you have the professionals that they start writing at a certain time of day. Whether it's after dinner, they have their slated hour every day that they write, or, I get up 0400 every morning. I write from 04 to 06 generally. Then I clock into the day job. I'm trying to get somewhere. I'm trying to get as much out there as I can so I can get my name out there, so I can get more readership, so I can make this into a living. That's the difference. And once you decide where you're happy, then a lot of stress can get sloughed off. Because if you're happy being that one that you might write a novel every year or every 2 years, don't worry about all the marketing. Don't worry about all this and that. You're doing it for the love of what you're doing with the craft. You're doing it for the smiles and the input that you're getting from friends, family, and those few readers that you do have. Don't stress about, oh, my God, I got to do this and this and this and this, unless you actually want to make it into a living. Then start stressing about all the marketing crap and all that junk.
Then you have to be serious.
Yeah, and that's part of what I'll talk about in that the Power of You panel that you got me slated for. I did that at Superstars, and it was a packed room, and it helped born a few of the babies. Finding their way and figuring out what they want to do with it. Really.
Well, that's another thing too. Is if you're a new author, you've got to get to these writing conventions. You've got to go to these workshops and panels and, learn. You have to learn from people who have been there, who have made mistakes, who, know what they're talking about. Your friends, your family, they can give you advice, but if they're not writers,
right?
Yeah,
and,
you're going to want to go to your peers.
Yeah,
and if you're looking for a mom answer, don't bother sending anything to me, because I'm not going to give you a mom answer. I'm going to hurt your feelings.
Yep.
And those that don't know what a mom answer is, it's, when you go in there and it's like, hey, well, what do you think of this? Oh, I like it. It's really great, Jimmy. Yeah, keep doing that. You're doing really good, Jimmy. No, you don't want that. That's the worst kind of advice, or the worst kind of feedback you can ever have, if they're just placating you to make you feel good. If you want true, honest advice, get a peer to bleed on it hard and give you a true opinion, and it's going to hurt.
Yep. Yeah, it hurts. That's how you grow.
Right. And do you guys remember Jenny Wren? She was with our crew last year. I've made her cry more than a few times in the last couple months, and I finally did a full bleed through her entire novel, and it was painful. Right. She's got a lot of telling and a little showing, but we're going to flip that around, because since she originally wrote that, she's done a couple of short stories. She's done, she was one of the editors on Trailer Park 2, and she's part of the Car Wars anthology. The story that she wrote for the Car Wars anthology, oh my dear God, I did not have to edit much at all. Her growth jumped, and I'm so proud. She listened. She took to heart those marks.
Right.
And it's that showing, not telling, and that one's a hard one to grasp. It really is. But a lot of us, especially our generation, we grew up on fiction that was telling. I mean, Anne McCaffrey, God love the woman. She is famous worldwide. I started reading the first book for Dragon Riders of Pern. I made it 2 chapters in, and I wasn't sure if I wanted to keep reading it or not, because it was all telling. But that was written in 1969, I think. What's the copyright date on that one?
It's around there, yeah.
So, it comes from a different era of writing style.
Right.
And now, if you take those same things that are being told, and this is the way I was explaining to Jenny Wren. It's like, you have an info dump, and everybody should know what an info dump is, where you're trying to convey this bit of information about this tech or this thing or this gun or whatever it is, and you want to pass that information along. You don't just blatantly drop it in there about what it does and how it works. No, the character observes it working. The character observes this or smells this or does. It's from the character's POV. Show me the character doing the thing, observing the thing, or at least in a dialogue conversation with another character, they explain what's going on. That's how you take an info dump from the old telling style of writing from the 1960s, 1970s. I mean, Heinlein, Silverberg, Anne McCaffrey, they all told, L. Ron Hubbard, they all told back in those days. The show didn't start happening until about the mid-'80s, really. And that's when they were really showing you what was going on from the perspective of the character versus here's a big chunk of narrative of what's going on, and now here's a little bit of dialogue. And it's like, no, that just doesn't work anymore. It doesn't hold the attention of the readership.
No, because the attention spans have dropped, and people just don't want all that info. They want to read a story, get lost, and they want to keep. You can't let things lull now. You got to have something going on. It's got to be going. They're going to put the book down and probably not going to return to it.
Yeah, and okay, yeah, Sandy, yeah, Sword and Shannara. Yeah, there's telling all in it, but it's from that era.
Yeah.
And what was it? doing that third-person omniscient, you can still do a good story. Without the telling, you can still do it as a showing. But honestly, some of that out of like Battlefield Earth. L. Ron Hubbard's Battlefield Earth does some omniscient showing. It's a lot more third person, not quite close. But he does more showing than telling in that, and that was released in '82. I'm almost done with that. Dear God, that thing's a tome. It's freaking huge. But it's interesting to go back and see these older books and see how they related and how they stand up now. But, if you picture yourself, it's just like a video game. First person is first person. You're looking through that character's eyes and everything that's going on, and you hear everything in their head. Because you're right there with them. You're tapped in. You're the VR helmet wearing character. Third person, you're just over their shoulder. You can kind of hear some things coming out the side of their head, but you're sitting there on their shoulder seeing everything going on. And that's the easiest way to kind of differentiate. If you think about it like a video game, for where your position is, what are you hearing? What are you seeing from that POV? And don't head hop from character to character to character in a scene. Doesn't matter if the cinematic pass is nice and smooth. I've actually had Michael K. Falciani. He's one of our fantasy authors. He does a beautiful cinematic pass in the same scene between like 5, 6, 7 characters. Like, bad writer. Okay, no. Pick one POV, and this is who's seeing everything in this scene. And I made him go back and rewrite the entire scene because of that. Because I missed it the first time around, and I went back through and was like, wait, son of a... No, you need to fix this now. Just to keep with the formatting of today's standard. So, you don't want to do that pass-around cinematic thing. Am I rambling too much and going on tangents?
No. That makes perfect sense.
Loving this.
Yeah. Because I have to, as an editor, I've had to, several writers I've worked with, I've had to pull them out of doing those shifts in the same scene between different POVs.
Oh,
and how it can just be and not smooth. I mean, it can be really jarring to a reader when that's done.
Yeah.
So I've had to clean that up more than a few times. Yeah, and that's
and it all depends on the scene. It all depends on the writer and how invested you are already in the story. If you've been sucked in, odds go way down that you're going to start catching things because you got sucked in. Mm-hmm. And I've had to reread just because. I mean, Falciani's Raven and the Crow stuff, oh my dear God, I'm waiting on him to get done with book 3 just so I can read it. And I might have to go out to Salt Lake City to beat him into submission. Okay, get back to your desk, stop doing whatever you're doing, and freaking write. Because I want to read this story. And that is honestly one of the best parts of the publishing side of things. I get to help bring amazing fiction to life. And I get first dibs on reading it, too.
Absolutely.
That's it.
That's a good feeling. You run into that. And then there's, like you're talking about different kinds of writers. And then you got some that, come in that have some rough edges in their craft, but they definitely have diamonds in the rough all over the place as far as great plot and great character concepts and things like that. And they just need a little bit of mentoring and polishing to bring that out. And that's always a great feeling when you see them, at the end of the process and when they have a book that's got that polish and comes firing out with presented it the way they originally envisioned it, but couldn't quite put it on the page because of the some of the limitations they had at the time, craft wise. So that's always a great feeling too.
It's like maybe they're just so niche that they haven't took off, or they're cursed or something. Because I've got this one author from Ireland, John Drake. And he writes amazing comedy fiction. And his style is between Terry Pratchett and Douglas Adams. And I love everything he's written so far. But it just doesn't sell that great. And I can't figure out if it's my marketing or if it's just such a niche that it hasn't hooked enough people yet. Michael J. Allen, his Crossways novel. I mean, you take Big Trouble in Little China, put it on a sci-fi dimensional gateway, and multiply the chaos by about 10, it's freaking beautiful. I mean, it's sci-fi, it's comedy, it's snarky, and it's a nice little adventure all the way through. You don't want to put it down. At least I didn't. And I don't get why it doesn't sell. It's like the dude's cursed or something.
Mm-hmm. I've sold a couple of copies. Target audience. Yeah, target audience. It's sometimes quite difficult, but once you do, they're hooked. That they'll be buying every one you put out.
So, then there's the other way, I think, of looking at it. When you have trends, and a lot of writers will try to chase a trend, and by the time they, are kind of have something for it, that trend has already shifted. And sometimes the writers that may not be catching on at the moment, they might be actually at the forefront of whatever the next thing might be. So, yeah, it's always timing is a tricky thing as far as some things.
And,
so, yeah, he may.
That's something. Yeah. That's something the industry has tried to predict for decades. Always trying to jump on that next good thing before it really hits, like zombies or sparkly vampires or whatever. And some predicted, some didn't. Some made money, some failed.
Mm-hmm.
And it's frustrating. And, I can understand wanting to give up, because on the publishing side, it's frustrating as hell when you've got an amazing title with beautiful cover art and it just doesn't sell. So for the baby author sitting out there and it's their dream thing, but it's not going anywhere. No matter how much money they put into it, no matter how much promotion they're doing to it, it's just not going anywhere. It's like it's got to be soul shattering,
Absolutely, yeah. Definitely.
And the thing, like Stephen said, in terms of the day, though, it may not sell. It may be the time too. It may be the social climate. Things circle. If it don't sell now, it may be a bestseller 5 years down the road. I mean, you just don't know. I mean, look at all the artists, the painters that didn't even sell till they died. So. Sometimes it just takes a few years to, people get hooked.
Outlander. Outlander, she wrote most of that back, early 80s?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and see?
And it didn't get popular until, 2010?
Right. Yeah.
So
that's where independent press and small press can really be strong, though, because, obviously a major press is going to, give you that brief window, and then if it doesn't sell, it's going to move on. But a smaller press or independent press is going to have a little bit of a longer range, territory for that kind of thing. And it can be, that's where that might be a strength.
As long as they've got the staying power. And, for the baby authors out there listening, research before you submit.
Mm-hmm.
Something could happen to me tomorrow, and the partners decide they can't do what I used to do, and they close down 3 Ravens. Research where you're submitting to. Is this the right home for you? What have they done for their other authors? What's been their track record? How long have they been around? Don't just blatantly go, oh, I got a publisher. Well, it's not necessarily a great thing, because there's a lot of these authors that are sending me stuff that they have had horrible experiences with these other publishers that didn't do anything, never paid them, all kinds of crap that I'm hearing. So absolutely, do your research. Don't just jump on the first opportunity that pops up. And please, dear God, for the love of everything, do not pay someone to publish you. That's a vanity press.
No.
Run in the other direction.
Yeah, no.
We see that all the time. We help the authors catch themselves.
No.
For making that mistake. It happens a lot.
Yeah. And, you know, they're vultures in the industry.
Mm-hmm.
But they offer a service. That's what they're doing. They're legal. It's just really dirty down because they don't even edit. I mean, I've seen a couple of them. I had some stuff submitted to me, and actually somebody that wanted to write into our JTF series. I looked at his work after I'd edited his submission to me for the JTF universe, and the writing was first person present. I wanted to scratch my eyes out. Like, okay, you need to change it for this, this, and this, and this to fit the universe and fit the market. And, you know, in the opening paragraph, his big gunnery sergeant was named Negron, who happened to be the big black gunnery sergeant. It's like, dude, you can't do that. What's wrong with you? Are you stupid or something? It's not going to fly in the market. But, you know, I went and did some research on him, and his writing was just the same. He's like, well, I've got 5 novels out already. It's like, really? And it's like this? It's like, yeah. And I went and looked, and sure enough, it was written like that. And I started looking at that publisher, and they were a vanity press. He paid them to publish his titles, put a nice, pretty cover on it, give him a web page, and they did no editing.
Yikes.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, and they even followed up with like reviews. They you could tell they were stilted reviews. They were just like copy paste, you know, from the list.
Wow.
It's a shame. We've heard it over and over, though. We did Steve did a speech a few years ago at this, what was it, the AARP, Tony Ackery from Hydra had to come up.
Yeah.
Louisville. We actually saved a woman $5,000. She was getting ready to get naked.
Pay $5,000.
$5,000.
Yeah, from one of these outfits.
Yep.
Yeah.
Wow.
That was the biggest one I've encountered so far. I've saved people from $2,000 and $3,000 before, but this one was like $5,000.
and they posed as Christians. Christian vanity press.
Yeah, even worse in my eyes. But yeah, as far as the ethics of it,
they're preying on a demographic.
Yeah.
That was rough.
That's the most I'd ever heard. But I'm like, why? With all the options you have today, if they don't, maybe they think they do edit, they just haven't done their homework because they are new, authors and they just don't know. So, and I think that's where they get them because they know they don't know, and they take advantage of that. And it's sad. It is, and it should be legal, but it's not because you sign a contract. Well, it's legal.
Yeah,
right.
And
they figure that's on.
That also comes back to what are you willing to do? What are you willing to put up with? And what do you want out of it? A lot of people just want to write it and forget it. They don't even want to edit anything. And I've run into that with a few authors. And honestly, with Three Ravens, we want to help people grow. And if your attitude is, okay, well, just do whatever you need to do and go on with it. It's like, no. I don't really want to deal with you if that's the way your attitude's going to be because you're not going to grow for the next one. I'm going to have to do just as much work on the edits again.
Exactly.
Right.
And that's one of the things is we really want to help people to grow. And with our community, we all talk. We all try to help each other take that step up. We help each other research, even on our Discord server. And, writing sprints start somewhere between 3 and 4 a.m. and all through the day, writing sprints are happening and everybody's helping each other research shit. So
Right.
It irks me when somebody's like, yeah, just do whatever you want to do. No, I don't want to look at edits. Yeah, no, I'm going to give this back to you and you can go away, and I'm not going to bother publishing you. I'm going to cancel the contract.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, if you can't even bother to help yourself, do I really want to deal with you?
Right.
Is the cost of bullshit ratio worth it?
Cost of bullshit
another
ratio.
Well, but
What's
it is
the truth?
another misconception, because some authors are so introverted, they don't think that they think if I get published with a press, then I don't have to worry about selling my books. Well, that's not true, because you are your brand, and you have to be active in your marketing. You cannot depend on your press, and some presses, a lot of indie presses, do no marketing whatsoever for you. That's not, It's not in their contract. I know a few that it's not even in their contract. They will not market for you. It's straight up in there. So, you have to read your contracts very carefully, but you have to be willing to market yourself too, to your social media. Build your social media. Build your public image. People want to see your face. They want to see the author. They want to meet you. They want to get your signature in the book. You have to go to conventions and book events, and you have to get out there.
Yeah. And that's why I pulled you off to the side at Imaginarium last year. It's like, hey, we need to do some stuff here. Because, as soon as the scheduled panels were over, everyone disappeared. It was a ghost town. It's like, where's everybody at? Why aren't they down at the bar mingling? Where are the people trying to connect and network and get to know other people in the industry? So, as long as y'all are still good with it and we're on the schedule, then, Three Ravens Publishing is going to host the Hillbilly Court down there in the bar. Everybody
Fantastic
can
segue.
mingle.
There we go.
We can mingle. We can talk. We can network. We can help each other out to learn things. If you don't network, you can't find these contacts to learn things. And it even comes down to research. I know nuclear physicists. I know neurosurgeons. I know archaeologists. And all I've got to do is say, hey, I'm working on this. This is the scenario. What do you think? And if they don't know, a lot of times they'll pass it off to a colleague that would know, and you can get some good, hard evidence type of information.
Yep.
But again, you have to go to these conventions to go and meet these kind of people.
Oh, networking is invaluable.
The power,
I don't know how
power of
many
networking.
People.
And was it? We're doing the coffee clutch Saturday morning and Sunday morning, same kind of thing. So for those who don't drink or do the after hours things because it's too late, I understand.
Get up early.
I'm getting to the point now that I get wore out early because I get up so butt crack early. But we're going to be doing coffee and tea in the morning. We'll sit around. We'll talk, shop. We'll network, and that's one of those opportunities of look at who's going to be at the convention. Who do you want to talk to that one of your peers that's in the same genre or into the same kind of things that you are so that you can learn something and maybe network and grow as an author? What are ways that you can take a step up in the industry? Mr. Brooks is going to be there this year. I'm looking forward to actually getting to talk to him. I've heard he is one of the sweetest guys in the industry, and a very good conversationalist. But I'm sure that he is going to be,
and he's excited to be there.
Yeah. Yep. If I get the opportunity to buy him a drink, absolutely I'm going to buy him a drink, because you know what? He has already put the footwork in. He has the scars from the years of work. The man deserves a drink just for me to be able to pick his brain for a few minutes. And that's how you network.
That is true.
Absolutely. And
you can't be shy. You got to be willing to talk to people.
Yeah, and a good associate of his is also coming. Sean Speakman. He works closely with Terry on some stuff, and author, editor, and publisher. And so, yeah, there's going to be a lot of people there that are connected to the people that you want to meet too.
Yeah.
But yeah,
literary agents,
good
marketers. Yeah.
Yep.
And back to the marketing and all that kind of stuff. Any baby authors out there that are thinking that as soon as they get a publishing contract with any publisher that thinks that they're going to get marketing done for them and all this and that, nope. Go ahead and go to your corner and start crying, because it's not going to happen. If you're a baby author going to get signed on with one of the standard trad pubs, the top 5, or even in Tor or Bain, their marketing, advertising budget for you is pretty much nothing.
Oh, yeah. Correct.
So you might as well go ahead and plan just like you would have anyways to do your Facebook stuff, to do your own ads, to do your own marketing, because you're going to have to. If you want to push your product, they're going to see what happens naturally and put the minimal amount of effort in. They might buy 1,000 copies to distribute. That half of those are going to get destroyed in the end because of the way the the more I learn about that side of the business, it's insane how they're even in business still, because of so much waste.
I know.
I absolutely prefer the POD method. But, if you think your shit don't stink and you're going to get all these contracts and advertising and all this and that, well, you're fooling yourself. It's not going to happen unless you are the golden child and can be bringing in the cash. If you're the Terry Brooks, if you're the Stephen King, or brain just went stupid. Harry Potter. Or Anne Rice.
Oh, J.K. Rowling.
J.K. Rowling, that's it. If you're one of them, yes, they're going to put money into you. They're going to invest in you because you're going to make them money. If you're that baby author, no, they're not, unless you have that thing. Now, see, in my networking, I was able to talk to a lot of these other upper echelon authors, Dave Farland being one of them. And Dave Farland used to be one of the purchasing editors, I think. I forgot which publisher. He helped to bring Twilight to life. And when that was in editing, he told them, if you want to make this something special, make it stand out, make it a bestseller, do something different. And because of what Dave Farland told the author, that's why we got sparkly freaking vampires.
Yay!
But it stood out, and it was different. So
I give her props because she took an old mythos and made it fresh. Yes, they sparkle. Yes, it may. But I'm sorry, I like them. But I'm a pure Lestat is my beloved. Lestat is my beloved. The old Victorian lore, way back. That's my beloved. But I still like, because she spended something new, and it's YA, and I like YA. So
folks. Thank you for those of you listening to the live show. It is going to go over just a few minutes, so there will be bonus material, obviously. But thank you for listening to the live portion. I know it's about to run out the live side, but yes, definitely tune in to get the rest of it when it'll be posted right after, and also on YouTube a few days after. But yes, we're going to cross over, William, going over into the bonus territory.
Well,
so back,
from my understanding, Twilight didn't get the big push to start with either. They waited to see what it did.
No.
What was it, J.K. Rowling? She was rejected 20-some times from 20 different authors, and then somebody finally picked her up?
Oh, yeah, it's an ungodly amount of times she was rejected. Kept trying.
Persistence. And I don't even know why she was rejected so many times.
I don't either.
It could have just been that there was too much of that kind of fiction out there on the market already, and nobody thought it would sell because it's already flooded. But for whatever reason, it hooked readers just right. but that could have also been part of the marketing scheme of getting it out there, advertising it. They start putting out products. They put out swag, things like that start to build the interest. Saturday morning cartoon and the toy. Same kind of concept. If you can tie the two together and you start building emotional bonds for a product line, it's a whole other thing.
That's true.
Series logos. Those can be powerful tools down the road if you get one built up just right that's absolutely recognizable. I mean, how many Empire and Rebel Force logos have you seen on the back windows of cars? And you know exactly what they are because they're the branding logo for that.
Right.
So part of your marketing should absolutely be something that's going to be recognizable. So if it takes off, everyone's going to know what the hell that is.
The Mando symbols and, all that.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Everybody knows what it is. It's no different than McDonald's, Nike, Disney. You look at it, you know exactly what it is because you've been taught what it is. So as soon as it hooks and it starts getting popular, you recognize the brand.
Right.
And that's all part of some of the crap that I'll get to talk about in that Power of You thing. Working on your personal brand, working on building yourself up, and I mean, sounding too crude. We're whores. We have to be. We're selling ourselves as much as we're selling our product because we are the product in the end.
Yep.
Agree.
You got to sell yourself. You are your brand.
Yep, and that's where find those little things that stand out. Some authors they wear a vest or they wear a top hat or something specific that stands out about them and is recognizable by their fans. And that's part of that. Finding your brand, finding what works for you. I mean, everybody knows me by my cut. Well, that and the braids in the beard.
Yeah.
But,
your jacket.
Yep. So, it's just that's part of it.
That's true.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And the way you present yourself to people, being warm, being available to chat, being, wanting to network and work those leads.
If you come off as nervous and your body language says that you're nervous, then people are going to kind of back off and they're going to leave you alone and they're not going to talk so much. If you come off as cynical or arrogant, well, people are going to back off because they really don't want to deal with your ass.
They don't want to talk to you at all.
Yeah. And some of that can be defense mechanism. Because if you got an introvert that's out there trying to do their thing and it comes off as being egotistical because they're talking about, I did this and I did that and I did that, it could also be a defense mechanism.
Right.
Because we're all wired different. We're all, our communication styles are all different. And oh my God, you start actually diving into communication and how we interpret it, it opens your eyes on how to interpret what people are doing. The people watching. I love to sit back and people watch, where you watch everyone react and interact with each other and the environment around them. And you can start to predict what's going to happen as you're seeing things unfold. A perfect example of this. I was on a business trip with one of the salesmen for the company that I was working for. I was a design engineer with them. We had to go back down to Texas to a customer site to go look at this equipment. Oh, man, the salesmen were sitting there at the bar. And we're just having a drink, just had dinner. And the body language of the two ladies across the bar from us, I just leaned over at the salesman and say, hey, watch this. They're getting ready to roll their eyes at the dude over to the right. And you could already tell by his body language he'd had a few too many, and he was already watching them. I mean, he just had that look. He kept looking at them. So he come up, started hitting on them. It's like they started to roll their eyes. Okay, just keep watching, man. This is what's going to happen next. You know, I could already predict by watching what was going on, what was going to happen, and when they were getting up. He's like, dude, what is? Are you magic? What's going on? It's like, no, man, it's observation. So back to the networking side of things. Pay attention to communication. If you pay attention to observation, it can help you on the networking and getting you more comfortable with being out in the public and doing and talking. There's a lot of personal growth that goes into bringing an introvert out to becoming a limited time extrovert.
Mm-hmm.
But it takes a lot of personal growth and deep diving sometimes. It all depends on the person, though.
And some of us that are omniverts and kind of are a hybrid of both need the quiet time, and then are able to go out and be a little more extroverted, which is a whole other thing.
Be all over.
Yeah.
I'd probably fall into the omnivert. I mean, I can be loud and obnoxious and out front and everything. There's times I just want everybody to leave me alone. I just want to go hide. Leave me alone. Let me read. Let me write. Just go away.
Yep.
Yeah.
Let me do my thing.
I'm similar. I'm very similar.
Turn on the music. Crank up the tunes and just recharge. You know.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. And then I'm ready. Let's go out. Woo! You know, and I'm ready to network.
Yeah. So, you know,
and be loud.
When we get to Imaginarium, I really hope that people see that on the schedule and they come out, they talk, they network.
I do too.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I hope that I can help some of the baby authors to learn and grow with that.
Right.
Right.
Well, I have no doubt you will.
I don't even remember her name, but I wouldn't even mention it anyhow. You know, we had one toxic member last year that any authors that latch onto a toxic peer, I don't know why you would do that, but some people do, and they latch on and they keep trucking along with them, and you're doing yourself no favors.
Right.
Now, some of that can be with a grain of salt, because like John Scalzi, and I'll call him out on this. I had listened to a novella. I don't even remember the name of the series. It was this new series. It had this whole magic system and stuff like that, and it intrigued me. And I popped over to Twitter. I sent him or I tweeted with him in there. It's like, hey, well, what about this? And we're going to see any more of that. I mean, he kind of blew me off and told me to kind of piss off. Like, what the hell?
Huh.
Why would you do that?
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, talking to Bill Fawcett, he's like, well, okay, when did this happen? And I told him when, and I was trying to remember when it was. He's like, okay, well, there was some life stuff going on, so you probably caught him at the worst possible time, and you just happened to be the target that got blown up at. Like, okay. Okay, benefit of the doubt, and Bill was going to try to introduce me at DragonCon last year. It just didn't happen because of timing and all that. But so I'm going to give the man the benefit of the doubt. So, if somebody initially looks toxic, give them the benefit, weigh the possibility, unless this is their constant, their ego feeding, something like that. Look at it with open eyes, really, instead of just, knee-jerk reaction, oh, screw you, I'm done with you. Because that's really what I did initially. It's like, well, screw you. I don't care anymore. It doesn't matter how much I liked your stuff. Piss off. I'm going the other way.
Right.
But because somebody else in the industry was like, hey, now hold on. You know, this could have been a life thing. Like, oh, okay, that makes a lot of sense. Gotcha. You know. Am I rambling at this point? I don't even know.
No, I get it. That I just think it's best to not lash out regardless, though. I mean, you know, if you're going through one of those times, it's probably best just to back away from social media than you know, vent on folks that want to reach out to you. So I would say that.
But
certainly, what do you got coming?
Any baby authors?
Any baby authors? I suppose let's say though, we need to know out there, people listening, where they can find you, where they can find Three Ravens, where they can find you. Baby authors can find you.
Yeah, and I'd like to get a picture because I know you're doing a lot of events. So yeah, go ahead and give a map of some of your stuff coming up appearance-wise. I know you guys do a lot.
Oh God. Okay, so we'll be at LibertyCon here at the end of June over in Chattanooga. We'll be at Imaginarium in July up in Kentucky. I will be at DragonCon this year. As it's planned so far, we're doing a DragonCon release for Car Wars Anthology, Go Hard or Go Home. So we'll be doing panels on fiction. We'll be doing panels on Car Wars game. All kinds of fun stuff there. After that, then I will be at Chattacon in January as the Toastmaster for Chattacon, and then back to Superstars Writing Seminar in February. That right now is the schedule, unless things start changing. We add some extra stuff to it. You can find my stuff at WilliamJosephRoberts.com, or you can look at ThreeRavensPublishing.com. For the baby authors that want a community that helps with growth, if you look at the sidebar on the Three Ravens page, you'll find a link to our Discord server. Come over, join in, you know, sends all that kind of stuff. We got a good community that helps each other. We run writing sprints. We help to boost each other. We help each other with research. It's just all kinds of good stuff. Go away, boy.
Fantastic.
Old child in here picking at me.
Oh, that's awesome.
They're probably like, you're never up this late. Go to bed.
We don't need you stripping.
Okay, I'm on an interview. Go away, kid. You're God.
That's
those
great,
teenage years, it's a surprise that some teenagers made it past those years.
It is.
Closet.
You have to suck mine then.
Oh, that's too funny. That's too funny. Well,
I love all these gentle parents today. I was never a gentle parent.
No.
I'm still not a gentle parent. Ask them. They're adults. They'll tell you. No.
Not your style. Yeah, absolutely not. But, well, is there anything that we did not cover? I love tonight because we got to hear a lot of things that younger authors need to hear. There's a lot of real talk, as I call it, which was that's why I was like, this is great stuff. So I hope a lot of them do listen and take heed. A lot of the points you made, but is there anything that we didn't cover as far as the Three Ravens and your personal releases? Anything that you want to mention before we let you get some rest?
Yeah. I mean, go sign up at the Three Ravens website for the newsletter so you can keep up with what's going on. As soon as the Kickstarter comes out, if we can make that fund, that would be beautiful. And I'm going to set up a bunch of stretch goals on that Kickstarter for extra swag and things like that the fandom is going to enjoy. for the baby authors that are trying to do something and figure things out, we have I don't even know how many. We got a nice list of open calls for different genres. Look on the website. We tried to give a little bit of feedback versus nothing, just so you can have some kind of growth point. So, I know, well, the Post-Apocalyptic, it's already closed now, but we got fantasy, we got dark fantasy, we got a cryptid horror, or cryptic horror, yeah.
Nice.
There's a whole list of anthologies that are open right now. So go check those out. It's an opportunity to get your name out there, and at minimum, we try to give a little bit of feedback on why you were rejected.
That's invaluable, to authors.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, because the big boys, they really don't do it, and I understand why, because it's a matter of time.
Yeah, number and sheer volume.
Right, and
I get that.
With that flood of submissions we got in, I actually set up hey, we've accepted you into the slush pile, blah, 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 here, we'll let you know what we think. Or, I'm sorry, the slush pile review editors did not find this hooking, or, I actually found myself doing that because we had so much going on so quick, and I didn't have time to write a personal message to each one. So I understand why the big boys don't. And why, you could have turned it in 3 years ago and still never heard anything back from it, and probably never will. What happens. Yeah, it ends up in the trash can or forgotten about, set to the side. I know there was one novel that Bain missed out on because it sat in the slush pile, and the author went ahead and self-published it and made a good chunk of money on it.
Right.
It just happens.
It happens.
But I can understand why a lot of that stuff happens, because I'm seeing it now. Yeah, I think that's about it.
All right. Well, this has been an awesome visit, and definitely one that I hope a lot of writers do get to hear. But thank you for joining us tonight. It's been fantastic, and I'll let Holly close it out with you here. But thanks for joining us tonight, William. It was great.
Thank you, man.
Yeah, the everything you've brought to the table tonight and shared with us has been, very valuable for our listeners, and gave them something to think about, whether they are the baby writer or, experienced. You gave a lot of information and a lot of good tips. So, yeah, thanks, man. Thanks for coming on. And, everybody, you can see him at Imaginarium.
Yep, Imaginarium is going to be fun this year.
Yeah, it is. Very fun. But, thanks for coming on the show. Don't be a stranger. We'll definitely have to catch up with you again later in the year and see how all those cons went and what else, you've got new, maybe ready for the holidays. There you go.
Yeah.
Catch up with you. But,
oh, yes.
For our listeners out there, I'm going to close it out with, stay creative, stay aware, realize you are your brand. You have to sell your product. You are your brand. And attend Mr. Roberts' panels at Imaginarium. Learn a lot. And be creative this weekend, the rest of the week. Right. And join us next Wednesday, same time, same place, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Another great creative, another great discussion.